For the ring dip, we're going to be utilizing gymnastics rings. If you use anything else but these, just make sure you can trust in them and then they're not going to snap or break, whatever it is. The ring dip is far more unstable than a dip you would be doing using parallel bars. If you're progressing into the ring dip, just make sure you have plenty of upper body strength and core strength. Your grip strength is on point and you don't have any wrist, elbow, or shoulder issues that are existing. You also want to make sure that you are really good at the basics. I highly recommend getting really good at push-ups, pull-ups, rows, and overhead movements. Anything you can work on before you move on to these. I would consider these a pretty advanced movement because they have so much instability within them that you've got to be able to control it as you're moving your weight up and down on these rings. First thing we want to do is we want to line up these anchor points. Okay, you can see how they slide across this pull-up bar. We want to make sure they're about shoulder width apart to make sure that they can clear our shoulders. If you're a super wide person, you don't want to have them narrow, and vice versa. Next, because I'm going to be utilizing them from this direction, a lot of the gymnastics rings, they have a lot of extra strap to them that you're not using. I'd recommend putting the straps nice and high so they stay out of your face, and also make sure that you orient them away from you so they're not brushing up against your shoulder or anything else causing any kind of chafing or anything like that. Once you've got the width of the straps, and the straps are up out of the way, we want to make sure they're at a good height. Right here is just going to be as low as I would ever put them because for demonstration purposes, I just need enough clearance for me to lower myself down to the ground so that my knees don't touch. I'd recommend finding a space where you can utilize rings where you can allow your legs to fully extend. That's probably the most ideal situation. But for this case, just know that my height is a little bit different. So adjust height as needed as far as the rings are from the ground. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish my grip. I'm going to place my hand at the southernmost portion of the ring. We don't want to start out up here because as soon as we apply weight down, it's just going to slide back down. So go as low as you can on that ring. Wrap the thumb and fingers around nice and tight. You want to have a nice straight wrist. You don't want to have that wrist bent in. The nice thing is the top, more meaty part of your forearm is going to be resting up against the high side of the gymnastics ring. But again, thumb and fingers around. I do not recommend trying to do anything crazy like this, putting your palm in there. You're just going to slip off and who knows what's going to happen. So thumb and fingers wrapped around at the southernmost portion of that ring. Next thing we're going to do is lock out those arms. We're going to line up our wrist, elbow, and shoulder. We don't want to go into this with a bent elbow. Instead, we're going to begin with the arms fully extended, put all our weight down. I'm going to bring my feet up off the ground. From this position, I'm going to take in a deep belly breath, keep my head nice and neutral. I'm going to lower myself towards the ground, bending at the elbows, keeping the forearms vertical until my arm is at about 90 degrees. Then I'm going to come back up. Allow your head to follow you as opposed to cranking the neck up and going from there. You'll also notice because of all the added instability, there's a tendency for you to start rocking backwards and forwards. If you're going for high rep sets, you want to really avoid that. Instead, you're just going to want to stabilize by driving down, controlling the motion with your hips and your torso, and not trying to create too much of that forward-backward movement. Again, place the hand at the southernmost portion of the rings. Take a nice firm grip, arms extended, locked out, wrists, elbow, and shoulders in line, feet off the ground or the platform you're using. Belly breath, sink down, keeping the forearms vertical until you're at 90 degrees. Come back up. Try not to let go of them until your feet are secured on the ground. But that's how you do a ring dip.